I do want to ask you now, as someone who is on the inside when it comes to state government, what is the most helpful thing that people can do if they say, wow, this guy Ken Ivory is really smart, I want to help him out? And then what's something that people are missing that's actually really difficult to get done, but maybe they wouldn't know about on the surface?
I love those questions. Let me take the second one first, okay? I think what people miss is you are the boss of American government. And a lot of times we think we're at the bottom of the totem pole. No, the people are the sovereign. That means you're like the king. You're the ultimate supreme authority if you look up sovereign in the dictionary. Imagine you're the boss of something and you hardly ever show up and you don't know your employees. And when you need people to help, you just go out on the street and pick them at random. You don't know anything about them and you don't give them the job description and you don't follow up to see how they're doing. 100% of the time, that's going to fail. And as the boss of the greatest governing enterprise in the history of the world, most of us rarely ever show up. We don't know who our agents, our employees are. We don't give them the job description because we don't really know what it is anymore. We don't follow up to see how they're doing. So that's your second question. First question, I call it the 3 Ps. Personal, professional, persistent. When you're trying to get something done through an agent, do you think if you just whip them harder, you'll get them to really do that job with a good attitude? No, it's personal, right? Please and thank you. In fact, when I teach constitutional classes, there's a website that we have called igovern.us, and there's some videos and stuff there, igovern.us. And when I have legislators in the class, I say, how many times do you hear thank you in your legislative service? And they just laugh right out loud. They're like, maybe 1 out of 1,000 times. And, we know in change management, you got to give 10 attaboys to 1 critique. And we're 1,000 to 1 the other way. Please and thank you goes a long way. The second one is, you think about getting employees to do the work that you want them to do. We give them computers, we give them training, we buy paper clips and notepads, and we try to help them be better at this job that we hire them to do for us. We don't even think about that with the state agents that we hire. And, money and manpower. Can I help you prepare for the committee? Can I help you on your campaign? Can I donate money to you? And if you do that, I recommend you give a completely just odd, irregular number on a regular basis, like $5.13 every month, or $25.61 every quarter. And people would say, well, why do you do that? Because it stands out and they remember you. And then the last one of the 3 Ps is, so personal, professional, persistent. That kind of speaks for itself, but I can't tell you the number of times I've heard from people that say, oh, I called my representative, I sent them an email and they didn't do anything. Okay, well, if you're the boss of the company and your employee doesn't do what you ask, do you just walk away from the company? We don't have that luxury. We're the sovereign of this country, and we're in for the duration because it's on us. The good news is we're responsible. The bad news is we're responsible for what happens here, and we've got to be persistent, so that personal, professional, persistent. We go into all that. We have 6 lessons that we teach at that igovern.us, and no, it's people need to take responsibility, understand what it means that we're the boss of this greatest governing enterprise in the history of the world.